Because I keep hearing you saying, if I was Diddy, I would have dipped to Russia. No, 100%. No, Vlad. Can we have a real discussion about this?
Let's have it.
Okay. You saying Diddy should have left. I think the facts has proven now, number one, his counsel was trying to ensure to the government that he wasn't going to flee, right? They were like, hey, we have his passport. But you think that they would just allow him to go to Russia?
If you have your passport and you haven't been indicted, you could travel anywhere on earth with your passport.
Well, Vlad, you're so smart, right?
Yeah.
You're so smart in the sense of, again, we're not talking about the Edward Snowdens and these other people who they've always been like damn near world travelers. They've never just been like, yo, I'm on Star Island. You get what I'm saying?
Diddy's not a world traveler.
Diddy doesn't spend exorbitant amount of time and has like these places that he doesn't have like a crib in Bali or even like
he goes to the Caribbean all the time.
To vacation.
Turks and Caicos.
To vacation. Exactly. Okay, yeah. Right? So it's like, here's the point. I know they were waiting for the indictment. You think the federal government wasted $1 million? Like, I was talking to this guy, he's a former federal agent, Myron Gaines, and he said, yo, based on the amount of effort that the government put in, he told me a stat. He said, because I was saying, I think there's some wiretaps with this. He said, I don't think there's wiretaps. I said, why? He says, well, a lot of this stuff is legacy. A lot of this stuff is from years and years ago. They're going to rely more on eyewitness testimony and maybe of camera footage, but they didn't need to sit on the phone. He said for a wiretap for one line, for someone, just to monitor one line, the government has to pay $50,000 a month, right? It could become costly now when someone has multiple phones or you're trying to, and that's just one side of the conversation. If you want to hear somebody else's, their phone. So he gave me like an estimation, like, yo, this investigation is into the millions.
Yeah.
I just can't, there's no way you think if, again, two things. Where did they first stop him when they raided his house while he was boarding his jet? They know something. They see the manifest being filed. Mm-hmm. Second of all, again, don't know this for a fact, but it seems to match up with why they arrested him the day before. He promised that his private jet would never be in the same city as him. He's in Manhattan. His private jet comes to Teterboro. They lock him on the same night.
Yeah.
It appears that they were ready,
right, but he was already indicted by that point.
Yes, but again, he wasn't indicted by the time the search warrant happened. What I'm saying is that they're monitoring his movements. If he planned to move to Russia, they're locking him up on something, anything. They would have had something,
and they could try. But ultimately, you can't lock someone up unless you indict them, meaning that you have to go through a grand jury.
No, you can't.
You can get arrested.
No, well, first of all, they would probably have local police either arrest him, or what could happen, and I learned this from, again, the same guy who used to work for HSI, who was an HSI agent. There's two ways to indict people, right? The sure way is through the indictment, through the grand jury. The other way is through a complaint. You just need an agent to sign a complaint. But, okay. Basically, no way they let Diddy.
Listen, Diddy just did. If Diddy went and bought a one-way ticket to Russia from JFK, they may have swooped in and gotten him.
Of course,
right. But what I'm saying is, at the point that you know that something's coming down the line, Diddy could get into a submarine.
Schoolyard, this OB Media. DJ Akademiks and Vlad goes crazy, and they said that if Diddy buy a ticket to go to Russia, he would have never been in jail. I don't think they would have given Diddy that chance, because that ninja would have run away. But Diddy thought that he would never go to jail, so he was ear fighting the case. That's why he got a videographer walking around with him. He was building a documentary so that he can build it for the system that he win the case. But Diddy was a real sucker, and we had to hold this ninja accountable. He was doing all type of wild shit. He was out of control with the bullshit, man. But it is what it is, man. You need to watch a full video. Let's get it.
You know what I'm saying? And pop up Moscow, and now he's there. As long as you get there, you're safe.
But I think you're like trivializing this.
I'm not trivializing. I'm just saying, like, Vlad. But I can give you Edward Snowden is in Russia. and he's facing treason charges.
Okay. At what point was he in the U.S.? In the U.S. though?
Hold on. Steven Seagal, bunch of charges, went to Russia. He's been there ever since. You can go back. Roman Polanski, like
Wait,
rape.
is Steven Seagal a fugitive?
I believe so.
Is he?
Yes, he has.
He's a fugitive from justice.
Sexual assault charges in America that he's never stood trial for. He's been in Russia this whole time.
So
he's been in Russia this whole time. What's his name? Roman Polanski. He was about to get convicted of a minor, and he went to Europe, and he's like 91 years old. He's never been extradited back because certain European countries have certain laws where, like, I believe he was in France for the majority, like for like 30 or 40 years, because I think that the laws in France are very different than America, so France won't extradite you back to get a much harsher sentence. So he was able to go, and I think he went to Poland eventually. All I'm saying is you've seen this time and time again.
Do it before.
You would have to do it early,
the
right?
The moment they do that search warrant,
it might have been too late at that point. I'm not saying that, but do you think that search warrant was a total shock? At the moment that Cassie lawsuit hit the public, and all the insanity happened after that, I would have just said, all right, Russia it is. Look, and once again,
Tekashi 6ix9ine said when they did a search warrant at his house, he was overseas. He says after he came back to the States, he knew it. Well, he found out his driver was telling, so he fired his driver. But he said everywhere they went, there was these like cars just following, and subsequent like the days following, it was very obvious. It was just like there was no familiar cars on the block. It was just all cars that just obviously they were being watched. So yeah, I mean, I think Diddy's in a pickle. What do you think about this whole situation? Two more announcements today. One that there is a class action lawsuit. I've never seen a class action sexual abuse and assault lawsuit.
That's different. Yeah.
50 people.
Wow.
Right? And they're saying if you've been drugged or sexually assaulted, hit us up. We'll add you to the lawsuit. They're trying to get as much possible, right?
I saw this other one where there's a girl saying that she was underage.
Yes.
And he lured her with candy. It actually said candy in the actual title.
Yeah, like I've seen Radar Online run that. Candy. And then there's the other lawsuit, which is Jane Doe, which says that she got pregnant after being given ketamine. And when she got knocked out and she passed out, she was drugged. And she said that Young Miami called her and harassed her.
I heard about that, yeah.
What do you think of all these lawsuits? We obviously know he's in a pickle.
I mean, it's not surprising. This is what happens.
Do you believe they're true?
I believe some are true and some of them are absolute lies. I mean, I know people, like I remember Roger Bonds played me a voicemail from Diddy's private chef, talking about the abuse, how he put his hands on her and then threw her out of the house like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and she never came forward with any of this. This was just her leaving voicemails about it. I tried to incorporate that into the interview, but she said, no, I don't want to be part of this. I said, okay, cool. I'll respect that. But I heard the voicemails. And this is not someone who's even suing. There's been a lot of abuse. And ultimately, you could sue for it if you want. You probably can't press criminal charges because there's statute of limitations to it. But at the end of the day, anyone could sue anyone for anything. All you need is a lawyer to take it on contingency. It doesn't cost you any money. And it's up to the other person to spend money to defend themselves. So a lot of it's bullshit. A lot of it's going to get thrown out. Some of which are probably true and are probably going to be incorporated into the criminal part of the case. Law enforcement is very reactionary. I don't think that if the Cassie lawsuit didn't go public, I don't think there'd be a criminal investigation at all.
I agree. She's the only victim they have listed right now.
At all. If he had settled with her and the details of all this never came out and picked apart by people like you and me and everyone else, I think he'd still be hosting award shows and partying and doing the Diddy Bop and whatever else.
Who did different from him, right? And clearly learned. Jimmy Iovine. Jimmy Iovine had an allegation supposedly, I think maybe with an underage girl. She was a Jane Doe.
Oh.
She filed anonymously. Settled.
Yeah.
We never heard about it again.
That's it.
No one came out additionally, so he's just not in the, like Diddy's been just getting a barrage. I personally believe, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, I believe that this is only going to result in him filing bankruptcy. There's no other way. He's going to exhaust a lot of his funds with this defense. Even if he's successful, there's 12 cases of civil. There's 12 civil cases, right? Then there's a class action lawsuit pending that they said they're going to file next week with a press conference, and they're going to do a press conference with 50 people. I think everyone is like, if you've ever been to a Diddy party, you felt a little wheezy, you threw up. I think everyone's going to just be filing lawsuits left and right. Even if, I'm just going to say, even if 40% of them are true, or 30%, it's probably going to exhaust his funds, right? Like,
I mean, possibly, depends on how much money he's hiding. I mean, he's got a lot of money. I mean, you know, if he was worth 10 million, then yeah, I would wipe him out. But if he's worth hundreds of millions, how much are you going to get out these lawsuits? At the end of the day, someone who is living paycheck to paycheck, you give him $1 million, or you tell them, okay, we'll go to court, and 10 years later, you may or may not get a similar amount. A lot of people will take that. I mean, Cassie settled. Cassie didn't need to settle. She could have gone to court.
Yeah, but a settlement for possibly $30 million.
You don't know that. I actually heard it was in the low 7 digits. That's what I heard.
Really?
Yeah.
Under 10.
Yeah. But that's also a lot of money. Like, because when it comes to something that was, you know, that's based on injury, it's tax free. Right? So if she got, okay, so let's just say you were suing for discrimination or something, right? And you get $1 million. You get the $1 million, you have to pay taxes on it. It ends up being $500,000. But if you get beat up by somebody and you get $1 million, you get to keep that $1 million, no taxes.
Really?
Yeah. That's part of the laws. You know, so let's just say let's just say the settlement was $3 million. I'm just bringing up an easy number to work with. Your lawyer gets a third, so you're left with $2 million. $2 million after taxes. That's like $4 million before taxes. Your husband is a personal trainer. You have no job. You have 2 kids. Diddy's not paying for everything anymore. $2 million is not a bad amount of money. That could last you for 5-10 years.
I haven't seen that smile on her face, and I know half of the smile is because Diddy's locked up, but that smile looked like it's a $15 million smile, man.
It might be. We'll never know because everyone signed NDAs.
I don't think he's doing another settlement. I think at this point he's going for broke.
Well, the settlement...
They got to get it back in blood on this one.
The settlement a lot of times doesn't make sense because a settlement is a private agreement, and in a criminal case, that supersedes a private agreement. So Cassie's not only got the money from the settlement, but she's going to take the stand against him. So what was the point?
I think
if he had not settled, she might be less likely to cooperate because this might affect him wanting to settle. And if he goes bankrupt and she wins, she gets nothing. You see what I'm saying? You gotta look at this thing long term, man. Like, you know, like I interviewed Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yeah. Very smart guy. Watch it.
Very smart guy, billionaire. And he bought like 8% of BuzzFeed. And
really?
Yeah. And I told them BuzzFeed ripped me off for like $50,000. Because I don't know if I told you this story.
Yeah.
But they owed me they were holding my YouTube money.
Well, have you said this story publicly before?
Yeah. Oh. I think so. I'll say it again. Yeah, they were my MCN, so they would get the money from YouTube, you know, take a cut, and then pay me. But then at one point, when they got into financial trouble, they stopped paying me.
And by the way,
it wasn't just me; it was a bunch of YouTube channels.
The reason why that was the case too is that you had to deal with Complex, but they bought Complex.
They bought Complex, so Complex got rolled into BuzzFeed. So they owed me. It was like millions of dollars at one point, and they weren't paying me. And we had to file a lawsuit. And then when they sold Complex, they were now ready to settle. And we agreed to a settlement which was $50,000 less than what they owed me. And they paid. And the reason why we did it was because we were worried that if we didn't accept a settlement, they might go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Now they didn't, but we were worried if they did go bankrupt, then we would get nothing. So, okay, we lost $50,000. I'm not happy about that. And I told Vivek, I'm like, yeah, since you own 8%, you owe me like $4,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm joking. He doesn't owe me anything. But that's what happens. You gotta, when you're suing somebody, yeah, you want to go for the gusto and you want to get 100 million or whatever else, but you got to look at it long term. What's going to happen years from now? Think about it. Like Cassie could have been like, no, I'm going to take you to court. I want to all this exposed, whatever else. This lawsuit could take 5 or 10 years to get to court. And by that time, he could be bankrupt and she could win some big settlement. But if he is bankrupt, he has no money, she'll get nothing. So do you want the guaranteed money right now? Or do you want to wait many, many years and potentially get nothing?
Yeah, no, I agree.
And even potentially lose. Mm-hmm. Think about that, because I'm sure that he has lots of stuff that's not going to make her look as much of an angel as she's presenting herself to be. I'm sure that all this prostitution stuff, she was probably involved in as well. The prostitutes, I heard she would pick out some of the prostitutes herself. And you know what I'm saying? So
she was hiring them.
Yeah, she was hiring them. So now she's procuring prostitutes. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a crime in and of itself. So it's one of the crimes he's being charged with. So, it's complex. And that's why a lot of times when you see the money, you assume it's this astronomical amount, but it isn't.
Yeah, like I kind of explained the same thing on my stream about the T.I. lawsuit. T.I. and T.I.'s daughters got this $71 million lawsuit.
Yeah, I heard it's a $17 million he's supposed to get.
I think they said it was 71. I've seen 17.
Well, I heard 71, but I heard he's supposed to get 17. I don't know.
They're not getting shit.
I'm not getting anything.
Well, here's the thing. The first time they had the lawsuit, it was a mistrial. The second time they did the lawsuit, it got dismissed. The company won. The appeal got overturned. They got 17 or 71 million, whatever that is. You think the company, even though, by the way, that toy company brings in $4 billion a year, they're still not paying that. We're going to appeal it again.
Yeah.
Right? So you won the first appeal. We're going for the second appeal. And by the time I said the same thing on stream. I was just like, if they go to settlement to say, hey, we'll give you 10 million, I think they should take it.
They should take it, yeah.
Take the 10 million. There's 3 girls. Everybody gets 3.2 mil, and call it a day.
Call it a day, yeah.
Because
this is what happens. And a lot of times, also, like when you get these astronomical amounts, if you really follow the story, like you say, this person got 100 million. You'll check back a year or two later, and it really ends up being like 2 million.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Sometimes it's only a few 100,000. This will get whittled down. This will get overturned. It'll be, because the whole point is someone who's been sued, who's also sued people and everything else like that. Like,
how do you determine damages? Like,
it's
kind of Google you up and be like, all right,
sorry. So there's compensatory, there's punitive. Compensatory, the compensatory part means to make you whole again. So let's just say that you beat me up.
Okay.
Right? And because you beat me up, I was out of work for a year. Right? And I make $1 million a year.
Okay.
So I'm going to say you owe me $1 million because I couldn't work for a year.
Okay.
Right? And then it's up to the court system and the jury to say whether what I'm saying is actually true. Did Vlad really not work for a year because he was so distraught over the beating that Akademiks gave me? Or was I really working the whole time and I'm really lying and I only took off from work like a month and whatever else, right? So there's a compensatory, to make you whole again. Then there's punitive. Punitive is to punish the person so they wouldn't do it again. Now, if you're worth $10 million and the punitive damage is $10,000, that's not really punishing you. It's designed so you wouldn't do it again because you're being punished for something that's actually going to hurt you. So if you're worth 10 million and the punitive damage is $1 million, then it's like, okay, shit, I just lost 10% of my money. Let me think twice before doing this again. So compensatory, punitive. That's how a civil lawsuit gets put together. And the jury ultimately decides, or sometimes the judge will decide that as well. And it can be appealed.
Look, man, this interview is crazy, man. Vlad is saying that Diddy should have fled the country and he would have never been in jail. But all of this bullshit that he has done and what he did Cassie in that hotel lobby, that was some real cruelty. This ninja was a real sucker. He beat the shit out of Cassie, and that tape was from around 2016. And then his house got raided, and when he go against that liquor company, that is where Diddy empire come crashing down. You should have never go against those people. And you were telling them that they're racist. So you're messing around with some very powerful billionaires, and you're just one person. You need to be careful when you're messing around with these type of people. So a lot of people are saying that Cassie's not a victim because she was a willing participant in all of the freak off. She was getting the guys, and Diddy was paying them so that they can bang Cassie in front of him while he watch. And he be taping this shit and telling the guys what to do. And when the escort finish come, they go in the room and Diddy rub that shit on his nipples. This ninja is more than diabolical. I don't know what type of inspiration would get Diddy to do something freaky as that. This ninja is super gay. So a lot of people been saying this for a long time, that Diddy is a rich bisexual guy. And Clive Davis was Diddy's sugar daddy for so much years. And a lot of people are saying that Clive Davis was in a relationship with an unknown guy. So understand that a lot of people are saying that it was Puff. Puff was the guy that was Clive Davis' boyfriend. So all of this shit that been going on all of these years, Diddy's not getting protected. Now they're investigating if Diddy got nothing to do with Tupac getting killed. All of these theories, all of these allegations that are coming out, most of this shit is just crazy. Why the hell would you got horse tranquilizer in baby oil and ketamine? This ninja was really out of control. When Diddy rubbed that shit on you, that knock you the hell out, and so that he can take advantage of people. So a lot of people are saying that they went to Diddy party, they saw this, they saw that, and all of these people signed NDA, so they know what they sign up for. It is all aware. They do all type of freaky shit there. So understand that a lot of people are saying that Diddy is in jail because he's a freak. No, that is not the reason. Diddy just pissed off the wrong set of people and he had to go to jail. It's not because of Cassie. Cassie lawsuit was a civil lawsuit. That was just a money grab. So all of these people that are filing lawsuit is all civil. Everyone is trying to get some money off Puff. That's why they try to give Puff that RICO charge so that they can take down his whole empire. That was the master plan. So Diddy was trying to start an all-black party and the government did not know which side Diddy was on. So everyone was working together so that they can take down a rich black billionaire. But all of the bullshit that Diddy has done, yeah, he need to spend some time. I'm not supporting that shit. He's out of control. He thought that he was untouchable. Man, talking about a real low balling. Talking about Diddy. Real sucker. Call yourself Brother Love. Show some love. But it is what it is, man. It's OB Media. Have a blessed day.
Let me be clear when I say that I think that Diddy is exactly where he needs to be. He needs to actually stay in prison for far longer than what he was sentenced to. I am not impressed or care in the slightest about the P. Diddy documentary. I think it was poorly done, in my opinion, and we all knew he wasn't a good person. We all knew that he did pretty much everything in there. We all suspected that he put out the hit on Tupac. We already, sort of knew all of these things. At first, I was like, I don't understand how the jury came to the conclusion that they came to, which is why he didn't get convicted on so many of the felonies that he was charged with. The documentary sort of did the same and didn't really have a whole lot on the freak-offs. There was not a whole lot of evidence in the documentary. You have to go based off evidence alone, and it has to be without a shadow of a doubt. So After watching the 4 episodes in their entirety, I understand how the jury got to that conclusion. I do also believe that some of them were a little starstruck, and so it was like, oh, this guy's in front of my face, he's charming, typical narcissist. Charming, you forget all of the horrible things, or it sort of almost makes them seem less appalling than what they are. Very, very upsetting, to learn about Joy and about Aubrey O'Day. I had Aubrey on my podcast. She really didn't want to touch on that subject too much, and I do fully understand why. But as far as like him being guilty or innocent or whatever, it's like obviously in the court of public opinion, he's very guilty no matter what. But when we're looking at evidence, wasn't a whole lot on there with the freak offs and things like that. Didn't implicate anybody else's names. I think a lot of the media like implicated people like Meek Mill, or I know some of the other people that would like go to the Diddy parties. Nothing talked about that. There was nothing about that. It was just all the other things that we already knew. So I say all this to say, court of public opinion is that Diddy is guilty on all counts and all charges, and I tend to agree with that. I think he's a horrible person and don't want to support him. But at the same time, like, we already knew everything that was in there.